Hey everybody, welcome to Oxford Tomorrow. We're really excited to have you in here virtually to discuss some big issues here for the future of Oxford. My name's Kyle May. I'm a senior associate with MKSK, and I've got my colleague here.
I'm Sarah Lilly. I'm an associate and planner with MKSK.
We're just really excited that you found us, first of all, that you're willing to engage in some good conversation here about the future, of our community. We've got a very brief video here. We want to get you oriented into where we are. We've done a lot of research, a lot of conversations that we've had with you, the public, and stakeholders and elected officials here over the last several months. But this is a really critical step for our process. So we're excited to tell you more. Sarah?
Yeah. So on April 18th, we're hosting a in-person community visioning workshop. But if you can't attend or if you weren't able to make it, we want you to still be able to participate. So we're going to orient you to some online activities that you can do to still make sure that your voice is heard and your ideas are heard in this process. So briefly, we'll kind of touch on what is a comprehensive plan and some key overview points.
Yeah, absolutely. And you may have the question that a lot of people would have at this point, what is a comprehensive plan? For every community, it's a little bit different. Within Oxford, we have an opportunity within this project to find some focus in areas where our community can improve, areas where we can solidify trends that we really like, and also mitigate some of the challenges that are emerging today and may emerge here over the next 10 years. It begins, though, with a sustained conversation with you, with the community, with stakeholders, to understand where those priorities and needed focus are. As well, we talk about this being a blueprint, right? It's a menu of different community investments, projects, policies, programs that we can initiate, we can complete over our planning horizon to improve the qualities of life, qualities of place, and indeed qualities of opportunity as well. Acts as a guide and organizes our action around some key goals that, again, have emerged from this conversation. And last but not least, when we think about growth and physical development, this provides that framework, that kind of the key direction for growth, both how and where we grow and invest in the future. We've got some big topics, Sarah, that have begun to bubble up in this process so far. The great thing about Oxford is a community clearly that cares. It's a community that understands who it is and indeed who it wants to be. Topics like land use, Sarah, development, obviously parts of this conversation, but also housing, mobility, economic performance. What are some of the other ones, Sarah, that have really bubbled up through so far?
So 2 new topics as part of this comprehensive plan update that were included, but we're going to kind of highlight a little bit more in this plan compared to past plans are community well-being, which encompasses a lot of subtopics from safety, health, equity, diversity, and inclusion. These are things we've heard a lot from the community that are important and that are really key to Oxford's character. So we want to make sure that's included, as well as sustainability, especially focus on environmental sustainability and all the great initiatives that are already going on in terms of climate action and everything else. As well as culture and recreation, all the wonderful parks. And we know, that the city and the community and Miami University are going to have to work together and have a strong relationship to move this plan forward. So that's included on this slide as well. And then last but not least, utilities and infrastructure is what kind of makes all of this possible. It's sort of the nuts and bolts of what enables development and growth in Oxford. So as far as where we're at in the project schedule, like Kyle mentioned, we've engaged a lot of you and a lot of stakeholders, and that will continue throughout the rest of this process. That's sort of this chunk here in yellow. We'll continue, asking questions, making sure that we're getting feedback on whether or not we're going in the right direction. But we're really kind of in this plan recommendations and strategies phase. We've drafted some goals and objectives that we're going to share with you here, and then based off the input we hear at the in-person workshop and from you all, we're going to take that and kind of continue to refine the draft plan recommendations, and then eventually later this year really kind of develop the final plan. So, and there will be opportunities along the way, again, to hear from you all in that process. If you couldn't attend, so this is our second public meeting. If you couldn't attend the first one, we held that back in February. All the materials and a recording and the slide deck that was presented can be found on the website, oxfordtomorrow.org. So I would highly encourage you to review those materials if you haven't already. Here we are today. We're having this second workshop, the Oxford Tomorrow Visioning Workshop, to really get some big ideas from you all, to hear from you all what should be included in this plan. And then once we have that draft plan, we'll come back to you at a later date for a plan open house. So stay tuned for that. But really quickly, we want to go over what we've heard from you all so far, just to gauge, make sure that we're reporting back. We've read every single comment verbatim that we've heard so far, and these are kind of really our big takeaways. So we've heard to date from over 460 community members through a number of engagement methods. So we had that first public input session, 135 of you attended that. We also had the follow-up online survey. We had a paper survey that was distributed. So we've heard from over 200 of you there. We've spoken to stakeholders. We had postcards that you could complete and submit with some big ideas. We also had online activities on the project website. So lots of ways to stay engaged and updated in the process, and we hope that you will continue to do so as we move along. But really quickly, we do just like to ask, some demographics questions just to make sure we're hearing from, a wide cross-section, a representative cross-section of the community. And from the results here, we're actually doing a pretty good job at that. We've got a number of ages well represented in this process. The racial demographics that we've heard from actually align pretty closely with the city's demographic breakdown. So that's all good news. These are always optional questions, but we just like to make sure that we're hearing from all voices in this process to make sure that it's a representative process. We also asked, how do you describe yourself as it relates to Oxford? And most people that we've heard from so far in the process, these are from the survey results and from the first public meeting. Most people are kind of permanent residents of Oxford who are, homeowners in Oxford. They work here. Some folks who work at the university. But we've heard from like a strong contingent of permanent community members in this process so far. We asked, what are your plan priorities in terms of all the topics that are included? And I guess to our surprise a little bit, all of them ended up being pretty much equally important. So extremely important was number 6, and you can see these are all in the 4 range. So that's good for us to know that all of these topics we should spend a good amount of time on in this plan, and one doesn't really come out ahead compared to the others. But really, based on all of the input we heard, we had open-ended questions. We kind of distilled down these big major themes from the community engagement. So we want to focus. We heard from you all that we want to focus on becoming a complete community. We want to be a multi-generational and multicultural community. Not that you aren't already, but we want to continue to focus on that. We want to encourage more things to do, more shopping, restaurants, entertainment options. We want to continue to prioritize non-vehicular transportation access and connectivity. Oxford's already got a great grid layout in a lot of places, but we want to make sure that everyone across the community has easy access and connectivity by walking, biking, transit, and vehicles as well. We want to continue to maintain a high quality of life through investment in parks, recreation, and cultural amenities. We want to find ways for the community to come together. We want to embrace being together as a community through festivals, programming, different ideas. We want to hear your ideas on how to do that as well. We know that housing is a big topic for this plan, so we want to make sure that, you know, there's housing options that are affordable for people at all incomes and life stages. We know that, you know, we need to continue to strengthen the local economy through economic development and diversification, make sure there's a strong tax base and workforce in Oxford. And then finally, we want to continue to foster that strong relationship between the university and the greater community, because you've got this wonderful asset right in your backyard that provides so many amazing amenities and programs for the community to enjoy. And we want to make sure that, you know, that you all are working together to continue to foster that high quality of life. So.
Yeah. Really great stuff that I think has emerged through that conversation thus far, Sarah. And, you know, part of the point of where we are right now, for those of you tuning in, getting ready to participate in the activities, now that we have this kind of general understanding about the direction, meaning where we want to head as a community or set of communities moving forward, where we are in our process is the how. Well, how are we going to get there? And there's a number of ways we can organize this. So what I want to talk about here briefly, Sarah, is just the framework for this project moving forward. So we like to build from a point of consensus to specificity. And I think as we think about our overall plan, there's a couple of key ingredients that we need to consider. One is that vision, meaning what's the vision, the guiding light that's pointing us forward, you know, as a broad community here over the next 10, 15, 20 years. What does that statement read like? And then what are the supporting pillars or goals that help to raise up that vision statement? We think about a goal, it's a desired outcome for this community, expressed quite simply in very simple terms, or arranged really around some topic areas that have emerged through our discussion. Now, below that, as we start to get more specific, it's important to us, you know, Sarah, as we develop something out like this, that we're not just giving you a set of platitudes, but rather there's a way of organizing, measuring, benchmarking growth toward that goal. An objective is a measurable strategy to push you in one direction or another. And then most specific within this work, and part of the conversation we want to have with you this evening, afternoon, morning, whenever you're taking the survey, is the idea of actions. These are core community investments. They're discrete. They are projects, policies, programs. They're specific things that taken together, done together, really help push us in that correct direction. But it's where at this moment we need the most direction. And these things really lay out, you know, in a variety of ways, Sarah. I think if we think about the next slide here in terms of level of focus, there are those actions that we're going to identify within this project, really, that we as a municipality, I say as the city of Oxford, truly can control. We can budget for them, we can plan for them, we can implement them, independent of any other organization. But great comprehensive plans aren't just limited to that sphere. Rather, they stretch themselves. And think about other actions. We're partnering, where working together is necessary, but also can accomplish some higher order goals. I think about your final theme, Sarah, when I think about this and the opportunity to work with the town, the gown, really work together with the right side of that community and the left side of that community, with the university and the city to achieve great outcomes. Well, that's an area where we would like to develop some actions where we're in the influence category. Mm-hmm. So as I mentioned, you know, a great comprehensive plan is going to have a wide variety of actions that are included. Obviously, we're going to have a healthy amount of these proposals that we can just flat go do as a community, but we also want to stretch our thinking and our efficacy within this plan by including actions that maybe we require a partner. And last but not least, this community, special among others that we work, has pretty ambitious goals. I think when we think about, for instance, equity, we think about climate impact. Some of these things right now, we might not have the right action, right? To be, what are we going to do as Oxford to impact some of these? It may take time for us to find our footing there, but at minimum within this plan, we want to highlight those items. Even though we don't have a prescription about what we're going to do about it right now, we want to highlight those items to make sure that people know, that future generations know this is a priority for us moving forward. Mm-hmm.
So as Kyle mentioned, the vision is really kind of the big kind of thing that we're working toward in this plan, and it's it's big, it's bold, it's visionary. We have drafted a vision statement for this plan, and we want to hear from you in the survey. What resonates about this vision statement? What could be improved? How can it be, tailored even more to, be truly representative of Oxford and the community, and what you all want moving forward. So please spend some time with this draft vision statement and let us know, what you'd like to see. We will go back and kind of, again, read through every comment to kind of tweak and refine this vision statement a little bit more so that it really is reflective of you all as a community and your values, essentially, is what we're trying to convey here. So,
and Sarah, this statement, there's all kinds of folks that approach planning like this and have different opinions about the vision statement. I think what's critical, though, that we start with is this point of consensus. And I think there's a lot included in this statement right now, because there's a lot that we heard, I think, from the public in terms of priorities. But at the heart, that first sentiment here about being welcoming, vibrant, environmentally friendly college town. That's how I think of Oxford. It's the aspirational statement of how the community thus far has described the community they want to live in the future. So it's about maintenance and investment for sure.
Yeah. And then again, as we kind of have laid out the plan framework, we've drafted these goal statements that are, they're a desired outcome of this planning effort. It's not that you're not already doing these things, but you want to continue to do some of these things. You want to make sure that it's a priority moving forward over the next 10 plus years. So again, spend some time with these draft statements. Let us know, do you agree, disagree? Is there anything you change about these statements? And then within these statements, we've also drafted that next level down, the objectives. Again, we want to hear if there's anything that we've drafted that's a priority for you. We want to know that. If there's anything that you say, I didn't see this represented anywhere. If there's gaps that are missing in the draft objective statements, we want to know that as well. Again, in the online survey. So we'd love for you to again, spend some time with this. We will take it very seriously, your feedback. And we want to hear, do you have any ideas for the actions that could help us advance some of these things? So those policies, projects, or programs, we want your big ideas, especially at this stage of where we're at. Your feedback will shape this plan and the recommendations that are included in it. So we do take it very seriously.
I think, Sarah, that's the key ask at this moment. I think we enter this round, we are really looking for, as Sarah mentioned here, your big ideas. We don't want you to limit your ambition or your creativity here when you start to think through some of these things. For instance, with housing, I think it's our job, Sarah and I and staff, I think, to weigh through these ideas and find the right path forward. But we would love examples, ideas, at base minimum, your thoughts on how we start to actuate the plan that we've developed thus far.
Yeah. So that we've kind of alluded to the online survey. So we'd love for you to, review the workshop materials that are embedded in the survey and will be up on the project website, oxfordtomorrow.org. So everything can be found there, including things from the past workshops, if you need a refresher on some of that information. And then spend some time with the online survey. Share it with others who couldn't attend the in-person workshop. This is again, a big opportunity in this planning process to really shape the plan and how it moves forward. Yeah. So
the next time we're with you physically, we hope, is to really take a look at everything that's come together thus far. So while we're still in kind of the mixing phase of, the next time we get together, we'll want to present you with, in that open house, a fully cooked, action agenda, where the key question at that moment, Sarah, I think, is going to be about priorities, right? Where do we get started? Where do we invest first?
Yeah. So that's here on the next step slide, that there will be communication about when that plan open house is. But after this online survey closes, we'll be reviewing all the feedback, making adjustments as needed, and then really drafting the plan. and we'll come back to you to hear your thoughts on it. So thank you again for taking the time to be engaged in this process and share your ideas with us. And we look forward to continuing this conversation.
The last thing I would say, Sarah, as well as thank you, is if you do have questions, specific or general, there'll be plenty of room below for you to ask those. As you mentioned, stay involved, but if you access this survey and took the time to engage, we truly appreciate that. But we also know that you represent a network that could also be participating in this process and will surely be affected by its outcomes. So please take the additional time to share this link, whether it's via Facebook, Twitter, whatever it is. Get this in front of other people who care. Help us spread the word and the opportunity.
Thanks.